What is up, though, Lions fans? It is your boy Chef, and you already know what time it is. We are back for episode number 24 of the YAK pod. Now, we're going to continue on with our Combine series, but we're going to hear a little bit from the players. Now, as we talked about defensive backs, the Detroit Lions have released their best of defensive back sounds from the 2024 Combine. Now, this was interviews with the defensive backs. You had your cornerbacks, you had your safeties, and I was just looking at what their responses are to see who could be a Brad Holmes guy, who could be a Dan Campbell guy. And we look at someone like Terrion Arnold. Now, we know that it's going to take a miracle for us to get someone like Terrion Arnold. I mean, he talked about his versatility. He talked about how he played free safety, how he played corner, how he played pretty much every position in the secondary, how he was comfortable in playing all of these positions, how he knows everything that he has to do. If he's a slot corner, he knows what he has to do in the slot. If he's an outside corner, he knows what he has to do there. If he's a safety, he knows what he has to do there. But obviously, he's naturally a corner. He said his grandfather used to tell him that he's naturally a cornerback. So that's where he's going to excel, and that's where he's going to be drafted as. But man, having a Swiss Army knife with that kind of skill set and that kind of ability, that would be fantastic. But we're at pick number 29. And there's no way in the world that he's going to fall to 29. I don't think he falls out of the top 10. Again, just like I said about Jared Verse. Now, if he were to fall out of the top 10, if there was like a run on offensive lineman, or if there's a run on some other position other than corner, and he's sitting there, around 12, 13, 14, 15, I mean, I think Brad Holmes is going to run up to the podium with that trade and, go ahead and snag him. But, that's a pipe dream. I don't think that that's going to happen. Cooper DeJean was also a person that talked a lot about versatility, and he said a lot of the teams were asking him about versatility and would he be willing to play special teams? Would he be willing to do this, that, and the third thing? And Cooper DeJean said that, he was a four-sport athlete in high school. So his athleticism, we already know, is off the charts. And that would be a guy that is going to be there somewhere in the range of the 20s, which is what I've seen his mock as. So people are saying we could get someone like Cooper DeJean. Now, Nate Wiggins said about himself that he is a lockdown corner, that he will lock down an entire side of the field, that he's very fast, and that he's very technical. Now, Nate Wiggins is probably going to run somewhere in the low 4.3s. I heard Spinmo Rax on Woodward Heavyweight say that he said he ran a 4.27 in practice. So if he's gonna run somewhere that fast or in that range, I don't think he's gonna be there at 29. Someone's gonna fall in love with the speed, probably the Raiders, because we know what the Raiders do. They draft fast guys. But if they were to draft someone like him and you just put on the tape and he's just chasing down receivers from behind, he's not even in the frame and he just comes racing up, punches it out, causes a fumble into the end zone, and there's a touchback for his team. He's just very, very instinctive. He's around the ball. We already know that his skill set is something that the Lions could take advantage of. But as I said, if he runs somewhere in that range, I really don't think he's going to be there. Mikey Stanrestill was a guy that, he spoke very well about himself. Like, he knows his shortcomings. He knows what he has to work on. He knows what he's good at. He knows what his strengths are. He knows what he brings to a team. So that's someone who I thought was probably a Brad Holmes, Dan Campbell type of guy. He's very accountable. So, he gives credit to Coach Harbaugh for switching his position from receiver to cornerback. So I think someone like that, maybe in the third round and somewhere where you can watch for Brad Holmes to make a move and get someone like that. Now, obviously, we're just speculating. We don't know who Brad Holmes is going to draft, but this is just something that I'm looking at. When I'm looking at the intangibles, and when I'm looking at what is your response to an interview question, and how are you equipping yourself from that aspect, that's what I'm looking like. Okay, how do you figure this out? Because, Brad Holmes has given us the secret sauce about how he, figures these things out, but he hasn't given us the secret of the secret sauce, and only he knows the secret of the secret sauce. If you say that the secret ingredients is brown sugar, okay, well, how much brown sugar do you put in? When do you put the brown sugar in? Do you marinate it with brown sugar? You know what I mean? So he just gives us the secret sauce, but he doesn't tell us exactly how to use it and how to apply it. So that's what I'm trying to do, just go in and look at these interviews and look at these responses to the questions, and just try to figure out who has these intangibles and who would be a guy, just from talking about themselves, that we could look to see. Now, someone that really surprised me, or I don't want to say he surprised me, but he just kind of leapt off the screen for me when he talked about playing or living out your dreams. And, this is something that you wanted to do since you were a little kid, and now you have the opportunity, and what are you going to do with that opportunity, and how are you going to equip yourself well for that opportunity to succeed in the way that you want to, so that drive and that passion that I could hear in his response made me want to kind of look him up and see, because this guy Malik Mustafa, I had never really heard of him before, as far as in this draft process, or being mocked anywhere near us. You know what I mean? So he's not like a popular name, but so I looked him up. Obviously he's a safety, so that's again Brad Holmes' secret sauce. Brad Holmes has already told us that he's not resting on his laurels, and he has to surrender himself to the process, and he's always going to be trying to get better. He's always going to be trying to improve. So if we find a guy that fits everything that we want to do, and the things that we love and the things that we value, don't be shocked if he goes and gets a guy. Just like last year, he went and got Hendon Hooker, and everyone was like, but we have Jared Goff. Why would you go and draft Hendon Hooker? Because he's like, I'm not resting on my laurels. I'm not going to get complacent, because that's when you get yourself in trouble. So he's going to grab the best player in a position, even if it's not a position of need. If it is a position of need, he's going to grab the best player, the best fit. So if that happens to be a safety, and we've already got Kirby Joseph, and we've already got Iffy, we don't know what's happening with CD Deuce. We don't know if he's coming back. We don't know if he's going to go somewhere else. We know that Tracy Walker has been released. So we might be in the market for a safety. You never know. We don't know what's going to happen in free agency. So we definitely don't know what's going to happen in the draft. And even if something happens in free agency and we think we're set there, we might just go ahead and get someone in the draft because they were just too good to pass up, and they would fit what we do perfectly. So obviously, as I was going through this today, I hadn't really seen film on Malik Mustafa or anything of that nature. So I went to the Draft Network and I pulled up his film analysis, right? And we're just going to look at his film analysis here. It says that Wake Forest safety Malik Mustafa is one of the more physical players in this class. A 3-year starter for the Demon Deacons, Mustafa was the heart and soul of their defense and a team captain. Before becoming a star in the ACC, Mustafa played 1 year at Richmond and then transferred to Wake Forest. Heart and soul of the defense, team captain. As a safety, he led the team in tackles before. So, I mean, this just screams Brad Holmes. This just screams Dan Campbell. So let's continue. Mustafa is a versatile player who played both safety spots as well as nickel. He projects as a strong safety in the NFL as he is best near the line of scrimmage. Mustafa has just above average size for the position and lacks top end length and athleticism. Right. So now we're talking about a box safety pretty much in the NFL who will help against the run. And what do we do best? We stop the run. So if we get a guy like that, And that just adds versatility of the defense, right? You can go ahead and have some 3 safety looks. You can bring Brian Branch on a nickel blitz and have Malik Mustafa fill in that spot and either cover in that situation or just drop down and help out against the run. So that's something that we could use him for, depending on the packages that we put him in. All right. In the run game, Mustafa displays excellent awareness and football intelligence. I just talked about the run game. I just talked about it. He quickly can diagnose the play and trigger down to the ball carrier, which allows him to make a ton of plays without having elite straight line speed. He has good short area quickness and can explode through gaps to make plays in the backfield. He is a good tackler in the open field and offers good hitting power to dislodge the football. He is strong enough at the point of attack to defeat and shed blocks and still make the tackle. I mean, does this not sound like a Dan Campbell type of guy? He sounds like a Dan Campbell type of guy to me. I don't know, you let me know. But I'm looking at a Dan Campbell guy right here. Mustafa plays with his hair on fire and his energy is contagious. His energy is contagious. He plays with his hair on fire. If we don't bring CD Deuce back, you need an energy guy whose energy is contagious. Hey man, listen. That's all I can say. Just listen. All right. So he plays with his hair on fire. His energy is contagious. He is an aggressive player who wants to make every tackle. While I love that about his game, it also gets him into some trouble. There are times when he is too aggressive and will overrun his pursuit angle and leave room for cutback lanes. That's something that just can be coached out. Obviously, you get coached on staying in your lane, setting the edge, and things of this nature. So that's not something that I would be too concerned about. Obviously, we're not looking at people coming out of college as just everyone is a superstar and everyone is fully developed and ready to go for the next 10 years or 15 years or whatever the case may be. That's not the reality of the draft. There are very few players who are like that. Even Tom Brady had to get some seasoning. Patrick Mahomes had to get a little bit of seasoning, had to put a little bit on. All right. But, not too much. But, everyone has knocks. But when you look at the knock, is it something that can be fixed easily? Is it something that's going to take a lot of time to fix? I don't think that would be something that would take a lot of time to fix. So, in the passing game, Mustafa displays excellent instincts in zone coverage and can read the quarterback's eyes and head to the football. For a stiff athlete, Mustafa has above average range because of his instincts, but he is by no means a center fielder at the next level. He has very good ball skills and is a threat to score if he gets the ball in his hands. He is physical and aggressive in man coverage, but lacks the length and fluidity to compete against NFL caliber tight ends and receivers. Overall, Mustafa will make his living as a box safety, where he can make plays near the line of scrimmage in the run game and as a blitzer. Right, his prospect projection is that he will be a day 3 guy. So, the tight ends, not being able to cover the tight ends, obviously, that's not something that we're looking for. But if you're looking at a day 3 type of guy, day 3. What are we talking about? Day 3. If we're talking about a 5th round pick or something of that nature, come on, man. Go for it. Day 3. So again, this guy just kind of jumps off the page to me as a Dan Campbell type of guy. We never know what's going to happen. But this is a guy that I can really see, especially if he's available in that day 3 range. The covering of the tight ends is a little bit concerning. But again, we're talking about a day 3 pick. We're not talking about someone who's going to go day 1. We're not talking about 1st round, 2nd, 3rd round. We're not talking about those types of guys. So we're talking about someone that you can find in the back end of the draft, who equips himself very well. He can be a box safety. He can help out against the run. We're always trying to get better as a team. So when you take something that's a strength already and you make it even stronger, as in our run defense, I mean, that's something that we all look for. So if you know anything about Malik Mustafa, if you've seen him play, I haven't really looked at the film yet. That's something that I need to do just to see. Like I said, it was a complete fluke. I was watching the DBs talk, and then he came across the screen, and I was just like, man, this guy just seems like one of the guys. And full disclosure, my name is Malik, so I love him. But anyway, that's all I have for today. That is my time. So as always, if you agree, let me know in the comments. If you disagree, let me know in the comments. If you have any suggestions, let me know in the comments. If you just want to say hey, let me know in the comments. You already know what it is. So as always, smash that like button, hit it in the face, do what you got to do. It stole your lunch money and you need to get it back. And you've got to subscribe. And you've also got to be the type of friend that tells another friend. Share, man. Share the pod, share this episode, share the experience, because that's really what people are coming here for. They're coming for the experience. And you've got to let them know this kitchen is immaculate and we have the spiciest, the best smelling, man. We're cooking up that meat, we're cooking up that sauce, vegetables, everything. So let everybody know. And as always, I will see you next time. Peace.